Good morning, Violet students. Miss D again, and today is our last work day this week. Today we're going to be focusing on the politics and law page on your website, and we will also be hopefully doing some critical friends feedback. So as we've started each day, please make sure you have reviewed the agenda and that you do have a complete task list, which considers the benchmarks necessary to achieve today's benchmark and any missing benchmarks. We're going to start today with these workshops, a work time, and after our break, we're going to have groups pair up and give the other group critical friends feedback, which means we really have to be on the ball during work time today. We don't have as much time as we have had in previous days to just work on your politics and law page. So getting started, make sure you consult your rubric as you have each day, hopefully, and I will show you what research I was able to compile while I was looking at the politics and laws relating to genetic engineering. So I've already looked at the rubric. I've already created the politics and law page. And I've defined politics, I've defined laws, and I've defined ethics in relation to politics and law. Then there's some information about regulation of genetically engineered crops. While genetic engineering falls under genetic modification, so the laws and regulations regarding genetic engineering actually are wider in view, and so GM laws apply to GE crops. So if you're having issue finding any genetic engineering laws, widen your view and look at genetic modification, and you'll probably be able to find a lot more resources. For animals, a lot of the same laws apply. I just did not get them formatted and put in. For humans, what I found to be very interesting, well, we have at present no legislation specifically addressing human engineering, human genetic engineering. Instead, existing laws having to do with embryonic cell research apply. So if you're not finding, genetic engineering in human laws, look at, here's the tip, the 1996 Dickey-Wicker Amendment banning federal funding of embryo research may also prohibit germline GE experiments. And what else could you look at? Some of the laws relating to crops and animals have to do with intellectual property. So if a company develops a GE crop, I'm going to scroll up back to crops. Crops, GM techniques, and GM organisms. So the methods of creating that genetically engineered crop and the organism, the output itself, are both subject to intellectual property law. So you may need to figure out what intellectual property law is. And if this applies to crops and animals, does it also apply to humans? So you might not be able to answer some of these questions with facts. You might have to reason out an answer. Or just ask questions. So relating to the intellectual property, if a company develops and owns a recombinant DNA gene and that gene is implanted into a human embryo, does the child or adult become property of that company? And will that adult's offspring and future descendants also be considered property? These are good questions that you should research and ask yourself and try to answer. What would be the legal, ethical considerations trying to answer that question? Does this resemble eugenics? What were some of the concerns back during the day when people learned of the eugenics program? How can you relate that to society and culture, politics and law, economy, etc.? And if genetic engineering on humans is banned, or genetically engineering embryos is banned, would that mean we have to test every single baby for genetic engineering? And how would that work? How could you create a law, and how would it be enforced? Lots of really good questions you can ask yourself today. Things are starting to get pretty interesting, I think. And I hope what you're finding is the people that are researching the human genetic engineering are enjoying thinking about things in a very theoretical way. Well, what's the utopian future if we go down this road? What's the dystopian future if we go down that road? Think about awesome sci-fi movies that discuss that exact scenario. For resources, I caution you, some of these are kind of dry. They are laws, written kind of boring, and I apologize for that. But I have quite a few. There are many, many, many resources here, from number 21 down to 31. I was able to find quite a few resources, and by the time you see this video, the project briefcase will be updated with these links. So again, very short video. You guys know what to do. Make sure you ask good questions, and make sure you are very focused today, because we need to make time for that critical friends feedback. And Mr. Hamrick and I are very happy to help you if you need us. Thanks.